Hello, everybody. Welcome to Control City Freak, the YouTube channel where we look at interstate highways and what cities they are going to. All right, so last week we talked about an intrastate interstate numbered into teens that has basically two control cities. This week we're talking about I-17, which also fits that same bill. I-17, it is not too long, it is only in one state, and it really only has two control cities, but there are, a couple others along the way that we'll see. So 17 goes from Phoenix to Flagstaff, Arizona. It is an interesting road, though. It definitely has its own quirks. So we will start by looking at Northbound Interstate 17. Here is the beginning of I-17. It is cutting off of I-10, going north to Flagstaff. So we see it's signed for Flagstaff from the very beginning. 10 is signed West Los Angeles, which is interesting because both 10 and 17 do a loop around downtown Phoenix from this separation to where they meet again a little further down the road. And it does not mention Phoenix at all in a sign before even getting to downtown Phoenix. Now, I'm all for big long-distance control cities and throwing that LA up there, but maybe you want to say which one of these routes goes downtown would probably be more helpful on this sign. So now we get to the intersection of 10 East going toward Tucson, and 17, of course, is also North 17 Phoenix. So that's from 10 East. The other photo was from 10 West. So here's our first sign on I-17, the first exit in Phoenix. And you might notice something interesting here. Usually the first exit on a northbound interstate would be, exit 1 or exit 2 if it's 2 miles in. But I-17 is exit 195. We start at 195. So very strange. You might be thinking that I-17 is signed from the beginning of I-19 because they all used to be US 89 along with the I-10 portion. But I've read it's actually signed from the beginning of Arizona Highway 69, which used to be concurrent with I-17 and existed before I-17 was there. Here is the stack interchange with 10 and 17. When 10 and 17 meet on the west side of Phoenix, the northwest side of Phoenix. They also meet on the southeast side. So 10 is still signed West Los Angeles. 10 East is just given 10 East, which I'm actually okay with here. Usually I don't like these through traffic-y sort of things, but if you are on 17, unless you got on 17 recently, you really have no reason to get on 10 East because it's just going to take you back to the beginning of I-17. So we see at 101 Loop, 17 North, no surprise, Flagstaff. See, this is what you see on I-17. It changes quite a bit in its short run. So south down here by Phoenix, you're in the low desert, so you see all these giant saguaro cacti. So pretty cool. This is actually the first time I ever saw one of these that wasn't, like on a Snoopy comic or, spaghetti western or something. So it's cool to see the first time I drove on I-17 this far south. Here we have another junction where 69 splits off going toward Prescott, and 17 remains North Flagstaff. Here is a mileage sign along the way, Camp Verde 25, Junction 179-37, and Flagstaff 78. Junction 179 is where you get off for Sedona, but I wonder why they don't just sign Sedona itself, but just add the extra miles on there. I know I-17 doesn't actually go there, but it's probably the biggest draw between Flagstaff and Phoenix, so far as tourism and whatnot goes. And here we have a McGuiresville, Munns Park, Flagstaff. And now that we are near Flagstaff, exit 337, you see the landscape in the last 120 miles has changed drastically. Over here we've got snow-capped mountains right over Flagstaff. There are pine trees, coniferous trees. Very different scene from the low desert that we saw near Phoenix. Here it is, the end of I-17. Arizona doesn't have a 17N sign here, but we do finish off 17 here. We have the choice between 40 East Albuquerque and 40 West Los Angeles, which is another interesting quirk of I-17. It's probably you leave 10 West Los Angeles and you end up at 40 West Los Angeles. I don't imagine any other road does that. It's pretty cool. Now let's take a look at southbound I-17. Here is 89A approaching I-40 and becoming 17. So we see it's signed for 17 and 89A South, Sedona. Well, this is a very 2020, 2021 sign. We know this is a recent one. Keep Arizona healthy. Do your part to prevent COVID-19. We also see here in the background, 89A has its exit with Sedona, so the road is no longer co-signed for Phoenix and Sedona. It's only Phoenix from here on out. We have another mileage sign list on our way down in the forested woods of central North Arizona. Junction 179, 15. Again, that's the cutoff, the road to Sedona, but you wouldn't be taking this if you're on southbound 17. Camp Verde, another 27, and Phoenix 116. I skipped ahead to Phoenix proper, our first junction with I-10. 17 is now signed for Tucson, the only time it's not signed for Phoenix or Flagstaff. It is now 17 South Tucson, 10 East Central Phoenix, 10 West Los Angeles. So I like the way they do this southbound a lot better than what they do in the northbound. We're telling you that 10 East is going to Central Phoenix and 17 is the better route to take around Phoenix. They're basically the same length, but 17 will be out of the center of the city, so will be a little bit faster. 10 East Globe Tucson. It's got that dual control city because 60 is going to Globe and 10 is going to Tucson. And 10 West, I like, again, the way they're doing this on the southbound. We get 10 West Sky Harbor. There's really no reason you would be getting on 10 West coming from 17 South because, again, you just end up back at the junction you already passed. But in this case, the airport is quite near, so you might be taking 17 over to 10 to get to the airport. So this is a great sign, great way to end southbound I-17. Thank you for watching Control City Freak. I hope you enjoyed this episode about an interstate numbered in the teens that basically has two control cities. Next time, we'll be looking at I-19. So that'll be completely different than this episode about that. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Todd. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone. Keep on trucking.